Now, before I get started, how many of you think that I'll be able to change in 20 minutes and some questions the way you look at the world significantly? And don't be easy. Raise your hand if you think you'll leave looking at the world entirely different, because I'm going to check to see if I can pull this off. So raise your hands if you think I can pull off. Cool, cool, okay. Everyone, no. How many people think, no, give me the crossed arm skeptic look. How many people think I won't be able to? Okay, good, good, this is good. So it's true, when I gave that talk at Stanford in 2005, it's true, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them going backwards and hope they'll connect in your future. But the problem is I ran out of future. But when you're cooling your heels in eternity, you have a lot of time on your hands to connect dots. And I'm back because I screwed up. Now, Apple's stock price is great. It's this wealthy company. But as I said in that, I was the DNA. And if any of you took a biology class or a molecular biology class in college, you'll know there's this thing called the, I think the ultimate formula or the central dogma of molecular biology. DNA, which is how all the dots connect, becomes RNA, which is kind of a manager. DNA is the leader. RNA is the manager. Protein is the stuff. So I was the DNA. Tim Cook was the RNA. He got stuff done. And Johnny Ive was the protein. I mean, Johnny Ive was like a 3D printer to my head. I love Johnny Ive. I probably abused him less because I could think of something, but I just couldn't make it. And so he was able to take something from my mind and produce it. And so that was one of the reasons I kind of gave him a pass. And something I have to talk about, there's the term a-hole been associated with me. And I may have been an a-hole early on in Apple because, you know, I was kind of this outsider. I was adopted, you know, not knowing where I belonged. But when you're worth $100 million at 25, you try to get even with the world. Plus, Wozniak. When someone's walking around with 6 pencils in their pocket, you gotta tweak them. I mean, they're just asking for it. So maybe the first time around at Apple, I was the a-hole. I took delight in that. But then I had my head handed to me. I was asked to leave, and then I really went silent. I went radio silent. But when I came back, some people will say he's still an a-hole. But here's the issue, and I'm betting all of you will relate to this. One of the most important things if you want to succeed in life at anything, and this could be your job, this could be at home, this could be your marriage, is the word focus. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett said that's the most important thing, and everything in the world is trying to pull you off focus. Now, people who knew anything about me know that I think best when I'm walking around. I mean, that's why I'm walking around a little bit here. And when I walk around at Apple, people knew, don't make eye contact with me because I'm trying to focus. Plus, you're trying to manage all the stuff that's going on in your head. I mean, we're all touched with a little of this ADD, or a little bipolar, or a little bit things like that. And focus is really difficult to maintain. I mean, in preparing for this trip, I lost my focus because my wife was asking me something, and I packed the wrong jeans. I mean, I'm not wearing my 501s. Now, some of you people who are a little bit obsessive will say, he's not wearing the right jeans. Everything else is okay. But I lost my focus. So how many of you can relate to that, that you try and maintain focus, and it's one of the most difficult things to do? Raise your hand if you see that. So I think that's just about everybody. We get some hard sells, but we'll try and convert them later. And so here's something about what I focused on, and here was my DNA. So if you're trying to accomplish anything, and since this is Wanderlust, I'm going to try and make this something that you can apply to your life, as well as a business if you're an entrepreneur. So the DNA is, and you might want to write down some of these things, there's 3 Ds to being a visionary leader. You define reality, you declare intention, and you decide strategy. What does defining reality mean? Well, I knew that when I was coming up and I saw computers, I knew that computers could get you to do almost anything, but that was unknown to most of the people. It was what we'd call a B2B thing, business to business. It was kind of lost in the back rooms of companies that were these big mainframes. But I realized if we could take that and make it simple and make it easy to use, we would own the world. And voila, you're proof of that. Next, you have to declare your intention. And declaration's important. It was the Declaration of Independence, not the explanation of independence. I'm glad I died before this recent election because in the recent election, one of the reasons that Donald Trump won is he could declare his intention, make America great again. And when you're dealing with people who are doubtful, people who don't have confidence, when someone can be declarative and you know where they're coming from, you get drawn to that. On the other hand, Hillary and a lot of the other candidates were explanatory. And when people are explanatory, it feels weaker. So if you're trying to have an impact on anyone, declare, but you really should declare what you stand for. You shouldn't declare, I'm right and you're wrong. You should declare something that you see clearly. And the third thing is you need to decide strategy. Now here is where I'm going to ding myself a few times. I was a visionary thinker. I was not a visionary leader. I was a visionary thinker because I could get those 3 Ds nailed. But to be a visionary leader, you really have to empower and embolden people. And I wasn't good at that. But the way I got away with it, and the way Elon Musk gets away being a little bit brutal, if you read about him as a leader, and Jeff Bezos is not that far behind, is when you invite people to be part of the future, they'll join you. And you can get away with being abusive. Now, that's not a very good thing, but when I said to John Scully, do you want to sell sugar water all your life or you want to join me and change the world? You can get people on board. But that was visionary thinking. In this day and age, you want to hold on to talent. The last thing you want to do is have your best people leave to your worst competitor. You need to be able to do a better job with people than I did, unless you're the only game in town that's connected to the future. So what is reality? So here's another thing that you need to keep in mind if you're going to accomplish anything. And this is for your personal life. This is getting married. This is accomplishing anything. And I won't go into the first define, declare intention, and defining strategy. That follows all of these things. So something that I learned is you need money in this world. Money is ugly, but you need it. And I didn't know about that because when I left Apple, I was worth $100 million. I had a lot of arrogance, but I had a lot of dollars. And I started spending it on something called Next Computer. And then I invested in this little Pishak animation company called Pixar. And I know you'll say, oh, boo-hoo, I was down to my last 25 million. But I realized you need money, and I'd lost $75 million on those 2 ventures. And so I start coming back into Apple as an advisor. I get them to buy the operating system from Next Computer, so that gives me a little bit of a thing. But also, I know that needing money, we were 2 months away from bankruptcy. What Scully, Spindler, and Emilio did to Apple, I mean, they killed it. Because the 3 of them had no vision. And so there are 4 words you'll never hear from me in life or death. And those 4 words are, I need your help. So I reach out to, not my arch enemy, everybody thinks he was my arch enemy, but Bill Gates and I, we've known each other, we're the same age. And we've lied to each other, stolen from each other, goes back and forth. So I reach out to Bill, and I say, Bill, how's it going with the Department of Justice on your back? And he said, well, what's it like being with a sinking company? I said, Bill, I think I have a favor for you. The Department of Justice is going to come down real hard on you, but I think if you gave us a little money, which you could afford, and we save Apple, and I have some ideas how to do that, I think they'd back off. And if they backed off, we've been stealing from each other, we'll do business. And so Bill Gates gave us $150 million Now that's worth zillions because, he got preferred stock for that. And the next thing, though, is you need to create insanely great products. There's going to be some main takeaways. Here's one of the main takeaways from this. People don't remember better than. People remember different. Get that? People don't remember better than because everyone's better than. As I was, on a day pass and I was walking through a snowshoe herd and I was seeing all these lovely things. They're wonderful, but they're all commodities. One booth is better than the next. Oh, we're probiotics this, we're gluten-free this, but they're commodities. So people remember different. So what makes different? Here's the other takeaway from this. If you can create, gotta have it, you don't have to sell anyone anything. If you can create, gotta invest there, you can have a crappy pitch deck and you'll get money. If you can create, gotta work there, instead of having to steal talent, they'll come to you. And here's the formula, and this is worth writing down, so you want to write this down because in the interactive, we're going to focus on this and you'll have it come to life. And this is going to be one of the things that I hope for you skeptics, you'll never look at your life the same way. So what creates, gotta have it, gotta invest there, gotta work there? It's putting the screen on again. What creates it is whoa, wow, yes. Whoa, wow, yes. Here's a dramatization of Woz and I visiting Xerox PARC, and if any of you know anything about the history, we got an invitation to go there, and they showed us a bunch of things, but look at the expression on my face in this dramatization. See if you can pick out the whoa, wow, yes, because we've recreated that for every customer when new products come out. You've got to create that with your website. You've got to create that with a conversation. You've got to create that with a marriage proposal. Because if you don't create whoa, wow, yes, what you create is, nah, never mind, no thanks, pass. So check this out and see if you can pick out the whoa, wow, yes.
And what he's about to see at Xerox PARC will change everything.
Let me try.
We saw screens with windows that came up. A window looked like one program running and another window with another program. And we didn't understand everything they had and the importance of it, but the visual appearance was so drastic. My comment to Steve was, once you have that, you'll never go back. You knew that once you had this machine, you'd want it forever.
But what Xerox sees as an experiment, Steve Jobs sees as an opportunity.
Xerox, being a big company, couldn't quite figure out, how do we make this into a personal computer? And Steve kept saying, we've got to do it, we've got to do it. They're blowing it at Xerox. We know how to do this.
Jobs takes the idea of a graphical user interface from Xerox and creates a team to incorporate it into a new computer called the Macintosh.
This reminds me of a demonstration. You saw me get ticked off when I presented some Apple things. So yeah, thank you. Squeeze that. So could any of you pick up the whoa, wow, yes, and the expression on my face? Well, if you couldn't, let me break it down for you. Here I'm skeptical, just like those people at the beginning here who said, "Nah, you're not gonna get me to change the way I look at things. So I'm skeptical because I'm a know-it-all. And then I look. I go, whoa, whoa. And then what's whoa? Whoa is I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I can't believe what I'm feeling. So can you see that whoa interrupts stuff? And you'll know you created whoa, by the way, if you're giving a presentation and there's a million people there and they're all texting and you say something, someone's going to elbow the person next to him or her and say, what did he say? What did she say? That's whoa. And if you're having a conversation with someone else and they're distracted and you're sort of halfway in the conversation and you say something compelling, they're going to say, could you repeat that? So you know you've created whoa when that happens. And so then I look at the mouse, I look at the graphical icons, and here's what wow looks like. Oh my God. And what's wow? That's astonishing. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. So you got to break in to get someone's attention. But then you got to give them this experience. And then what happens after that? You look at it more deeply and you think, and you turn to Wozniak, or you turn to that part of your head and say, I could really do something with this. And that's, I can't wait to do something with this. And then when it all lines up, you're empowered. In fact, what I'm hoping, and I'll be happy for just one, and I'll check at the end, if you leave and say, that whoa, wow, yes, it's such a simple filter. I'm going to use that, and you can grade yourself every time you're interacting with someone, every time you're trying to, if you're single, you're trying to date, if you're anything, ask yourself, did I create whoa, wow, yes? If not, fix it. And what that leads to is yes. Now, some people will say, well, can you drill down further? So here's a slide you might want to take a picture of, but I think we're going to send slides. So a lot of people will say that I was the pioneer of user experience. For crying out loud, they have something called CUX, which they didn't have when I was alive, Chief User Experience. I mean, that C-suite is getting awfully crowded. But people will say that I was the user experience thing. So here's what, you want to increase user experience? You're creating something, it's got to have all this. And I think you'll agree. It's got to be relevant, simple, convenient, reliable, fun, beautiful, socially redeeming. Now, some of you skeptics will say, that's kind of woo-woo. So there's something that I've come up with, and you might want to use it when you're selling something that's woo-woo. It's called the rule of the opposite. That's also worth remembering. So someone will say, yeah, I get along with that. I get along with that. You can say, well, what's the user experience if instead of being relevant, it doesn't matter to anything in my life? It's irrelevant. What's it like if instead of being simple, it makes me feel stupid? What's it like if you create something that instead of being convenient, it's inconvenient? It's getting crazy now. I mean, they've gone too far, because if you've called Apple or checked with Verizon, afterwards they want to make sure you have a great customer experience. They call you 6 times. Was everything okay? Is there anything else we can do? Do you need us to pick up toilet paper on the way home? I mean, it is crazy. So they have to figure that out, because in an effort to sort of be there and not drop the ball, they're getting to be annoying. Got to be reliable. I know, I hate to tell you, but if you have a PC instead of a Mac, and you have an Android instead of an iPhone, you've been tempted to throw it against the wall. Viruses have made you a tad angry. So it's got to be reliable. Fun. I started out at Atari. Atari was video games. And fun used to be something you'd have at a video arcade, and then you'd come home and you'd listen to your family. But what happened is they brought video games home. And if you'll notice, there is no meaningful conversation going on at home now, because everyone's become addicted to adrenaline. Everyone's an adrenaline junkie. I know enough about neurophysiology to be dangerous. Oxytocin is disappearing. The hell with bonding when you could be excited. But beautiful. Beautiful takes your breath away. And I know you know that, because how many of you arrived and found that this was just beautiful here? Took your breath away. And it's got to be socially redeeming. Now, I'm going to give you an experience. So if I still haven't won over the cynics, this, I think, will win you over. How many of you will see a Federal Express truck today driving? Well, not today, not today. When you're out of here, you know, when out of God's earth. When you're driving, how many of you will see a Federal Express? Everybody? How many of you know the secret to the Federal Express logo? Raise your hands. Okay, now, how many don't know the secret? Okay, if you don't know the secret, this will be cool. This will get you skeptics. You'll say, okay, you won me over. All you people who don't know the secret to the Federal Express logo, I want you to cross your arms and be in your most resistant, cynical, know-it-all self. Like, oh yeah, show me. Okay, and when I show you the logo, I want the people who know the secret to scream it out. What's the secret? It's the arrow. Look at this, the arrow between the E and the X. You've never seen that before, right? You've never seen that before. Oh, wow, that was the O was like a whoa, sort of on, you know, limping along. But what'll happen, how many of you now, when you see a FedEx truck, all you people never saw it, how many of you people are going to see the white arrow who never saw it before? All of you. And this is how you spread something virally. Okay, so we got a whoa, wow. Oh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. That's amazing. I thought I knew it all. And what's the You're stuck in traffic, you run out of small talk, and this is in front of you. And you want to be a smarty pants. What are you going to say to the person next to you? Come on. What are you going to say? Do you see the arrow? So I rest my case. So if the cynics are going to say, okay, I wasn't ready to believe it, but, you know, you got me on the FedEx. So what's your whoa, wow, yes? And we're going to cover some of that in the question and answer. But this is what I want to leave you becoming.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
So let me ask you, how many of you, skeptic, will look at things differently with a different filter because of anything that we talked about? Raise your hands. Did I win any of you over? That's not bad. That's not bad. If I was Comey, I would have said, you know, settled for that kind of thing. So we'll be passing around a clipboard. And if you give me your name, your email, your phone, because sometimes communicate through text, that sort of stuff, never be shared with anyone else. What you'll get is a PDF of a worksheet for the whoa, wow, yes. But you'll also get something that Goulston wrote. He wrote a book called Get Out of Your Own Way at Work. You'll get the whole PDF. Get that for free. So if you sign that up, they'll be passing that around. And also you can follow him up here. But it's time for some questions and answers. What I think would make this helpful, I'll take questions, and I'm still Steve Jobs. But I think what would be helpful is to instill this in your head. Talk about your whoa, wow, yes moment when you decided to start exercising, when you decided to start eating well, when you decided to get married, to get divorced, when you decided to try a company. Yes, what's your name? Andrew, can you speak up so people can hear you? And yep.
So, Steve, first, thank you so much for this engaging conversation. I think it's been just terrific to see you, especially after having missed you for the last 6 or so years. First was, I guess, the thing that jumped out at me, and it ties in with this, but it also ties in with the
You have a good voice, Andrew.
So what it was the 8 items that ended with being socially redeeming, but it was the 8 things that you need to have. And I have kind of 2 sides of a sword on that. What that list reminded me of was Tesla getting a Model S. It had all 8 of those items. You know, it's environmentally cool, it's beautiful, it's quick, it's reliable, it does all these things. And then the other side of that sword was my experience at the DMV getting it registered and tagged, which was not useful, not efficient, not reliable. I guess reliable is bad, but so it was kind of interesting to kind of see that list and then see 2 sides that were completely one side or completely the other in that slide.
So is there a question or comment you have? Yeah. Something you can do, which is really not a Steve Jobs thing, but when you're at the DMV, when you can thank some of these faceless people who are just treated like appliances, when you can say to them, hey, how much longer is your shift? How's it going? I'll tell you, they will remember that for a week. They'll give better service to the next person. And it's interesting you pick up this thing about socially redeeming being last. We really need to understand other cultures. Because one of the differences, for instance, if we want to deal with Russia, Americans will try, they'll talk like, how many kids do you have, what's your family like? It's this, get to know them and then close. So it's a little disingenuous. Whereas in Russia, and other countries like that, they want to know, so what's the deal? Can we do a deal? Can we have confidence in this? And then afterwards, over some vodka, they'll talk about families. So yeah, I believe in the socially redeeming thing, but I hate to tell you this. Everybody in the world, at least in the business world, is judged on results. That's what they're thinking about. Will this give me results so that when my boss reviews me, I get promoted or a pay raise, as opposed to the opposite? Now again, it's your life. I'm gone, but the world is turning. I'll tell you, the world is turning Steve Jobs-like, which is very transactional, and I kind of outsmarted myself with the cancer. So I'm not sure that's a good thing. But thanks for leading off. Other comment or question? So. Let's have some people share how the whoa, wow, yes formula in retrospect played to them. So can someone share an idea or a time when they decided to exercise or whatever? Because I think when you hear other people like yourself saying, oh, well, this is, I got on the scale and I was disgusted. I ate this crappy food and it was satisfying for about a nanosecond and then the guilt shipped in. So do we have some people, because I want to embed that lesson, because many of you said, you are going to look at the world differently. So who wants to go first? Oh, this is cool. We have a mic person. What's your name? First name?
My name is Bill.
Hey, Bill. Go ahead. What's your whoa, wow, yes?
My whoa moment was I was getting my physical, and the doctor told me I weighed 286 pounds.
Whoa, look at you now. Go on.
Yeah. And he also told me that not only am I morbidly obese, but I had high blood pressure and I had high cholesterol. So I had three things that would, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I was going to have a heart attack. That was my whoa moment. And so I was trying to think, what could I do? And I asked him, and he told me about Fitbit. And that was my wow moment. And I explored into it, and I followed it religiously. And figured out that, if I stuck with it, I would do it. And about a year and a half later, I lost 107 pounds.
Wow, I think I don't applaud, but I think the rest of you should applaud this guy. Good for you, good for you. And that was a whoa, wow. I mean, when he told you that, you were in denial, and you said, I can't believe how bad it is. And I'll tell you something about Fitbit. You're going to see more of this stuff. I think here's something from my user experience perch up. I won't tell you which attorney I am in. But when you're doing without something that does something with you makes it easier to tolerate. That's why AA works. AA works not because of the 12 steps. It works because you're doing it with people. And a Fitbit is a way of giving you direct feedback, good for you. And so I don't think that's going to go away, because what's happening is we're not interacting with each other. We're not keeping track of data. We're not saying good for you. In fact, you should contact Fitbit and say, I just announced this and I got an applause. Do you have an applause in Fitbit? I mean, when you see certain things, there should be, just don't call me for customer service, but you could play my favorite song or something like that. Good. And we had someone here who was a whoa wow. Yes, do we have a microphone?
I'm sure I can speak out.
Oh, use the microphone. Yeah, go ahead. And what's your name?
Hi, I'm Bob.
Hey, Bob.
9 months ago, I met Heather, and I was whoa wow within the first week, seriously. And then, she's a healthy person, and I said, how do you become healthy, or how do you stay healthy? And I wasn't real healthy. I wasn't bad, but I didn't feel real good. And she has a better diet than I had. She had better exercise routine and all the things that we're doing here this weekend. So that is what I've engaged in, and I feel a lot better than I used to. And I've got a better diet. I eat less animal fat and all that, and I feel much better for it.
So is Heather your trainer, or are you involved with her?
I'm involved with her.
Okay, so
Yes.
okay, Laureen, I know I didn't do this. I'm sorry, but what was the real whoa wow? It wasn't a healthy thing. There's something where you said, I'm with this woman. What was the whoa wow? Embarrass her. Well, you don't have to go. Don't go that far.
Yes.
What?
She's attractive and she's healthy, and it's like, whoa.
And what?
She's my sister. I don't like to hear you talk about that.
Well, you look pretty good from there, here, sis. Yeah. So she inspired you.
Yes.
You admired her. The fact that she liked you, you didn't want to disappoint her. Her
Right.
esteem for you mattered. You probably thought, what's she doing with me for? All those things, and so that's all good.
Thanks a lot, Steve. I didn't need that.
Yeah. Yeah. So some more. How are we doing for time? 50 minutes. Okay. 15 minutes. Okay. We got more time. Other questions for Steve about what I did in my life? And yes. Microphone. Yes. What's your name?
Brent.
Brent. Thanks.
All right, so I guess I'll go a little whoa wow, but I think it may be a little bit similar, where you become successful in life and you're doing wonderful things, maybe in business, and you get a lot of self-esteem and a self-awareness from that lifestyle, but then you realize that you're way out of balance. And maybe that's the biggest whoa wow for me, but for Steve Jobs, for you, when did that hit you, and what did you do about it?
I killed myself. Everyone knows that. The problem is you start to believe stuff. I had this thing called a reality distortion field. So when it looked like I wasn't convincing you, I think Trump may have learned it from me. I had this way of looking into your eyes with such total confidence in what I was saying, whether it was bullshit or not, that I'd have you believing it. But what happened is it was working so well with other people, I started to believe it myself. So when I got the pancreatic cancer, I thought, well, first of all, I thought arrogantly, I'm an exception to the rules. Rules don't apply to me. But from a not so arrogant thing, I thought, I am an exception to the rules. I mean, nothing that's supposed to work for other people works for me. So that's one of my thoughts, that I could do it better on my own. And I did have surgery, but I delayed it for 9-10 months. And anyone who knows anything about pancreatic cancer, that could have been critical. And so I outsmarted myself. What would I do differently? I would have identified people who really cared enough about me, and I would have said, I want you to take me to the barn whenever I need to. You don't need my permission to step in and protect me from doing something really destructive. In retrospect, I had people like that, but it was too late. So identify those people and say to them, I need your help with something. And if you tend to be a little arrogant, they're going to say, wow, you can't be Steve Jobs because he never said I need your help. And say, you care about me. And sometimes I blow you off. I don't want you to get sick and tired of caring about me. So you don't need my permission to take me aside, but it may be difficult when I'm on a roll because I'm a momentum junkie. So here's the way to take me aside. You know, I wouldn't do it at a Big Mac event. But I give you permission, and if I was alive, I would request it. But I was too late. Does that answer your question, sir? Yeah. Other questions of Steve? Yes. Can you all hear him? Maybe not in the back. Go ahead.
If you didn't have the Xerox moment, if you didn't go to Xerox, would Apple have ever happened?
I think it would. Here's another takeaway. And this is I think this is what visionaries are. A visionary has a joy of discovery. They love the unknown. I loved the unknown. In fact, one of the problems is I'd so much love the unknown, I'd be chasing after all these shiny objects. Also, you will get more, and if you signed up on that thing, email me back if this is true, and you'll get more out of the festival. One of the things that I was a first-class noticer. Noticing is different than looking, watching, and seeing. When you're looking, watching, and seeing, you're passive. But when you notice, you just become absorbed. He fell in love with Heather because he noticed this is just wonderful woman who has it together, and I can see in her eyes that she cares about me. She must be an idiot, but she cares about me in a deep way, and I'm noticing that, and she sees good in me that I can't see in me. I'd be an idiot not to go with that, right? I'm right, yeah. And so what I'd like you to be as you're walking around here is a first-class noticer. Like as I was walking here, because I am dead, and I mean, we have a pretty good view. Well, I won't tell you which eternity I'm from, because one of the views is a little bit, you're looking up through rocks. But as I was looking out at the landscape, and I was watching some of this CNN crap, I was looking like the landscape is calling out to us. I think if you walk around, and you walk around quietly, you will actually hear the voice of Mother Earth. And if you notice it, she's saying, help. And I think if you do that and become a noticer, what's going to happen is you're going to feel a different kind of enjoyment and beauty. My hope is that you don't, when you hear her call, you don't ignore it. So be a first-class noticer. I think we have time for one more. A comment, a question. I'm happy to talk about my personal life because every time I do this, I find out things about myself I didn't even know.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Kind of, I guess the question I have is, have we gone too far? And kind of what you were just saying, and some of the undertones in the conversation in terms of high tech, high touch, and we're kind of come to this weekend, and none of us really get cell service. Maybe a few of us have gotten into the Wi-Fi now, and we've now checked our emails or got on Facebook and all these things. But have we, having this great technology in our pockets all the time, is it actually hurting us to some degree, or is there something that have we gone too far, do you think, to one to the side? We need to come back to the middle. Even with, you think about, not that you create all the social media that came from it, but we had that access all the time, and you hear about, cyberbullying and all these things. Like, have we pushed it too far? Do we need to come back? Do we need to be trained? Like, we're like, monkeys using tools for the first time in some degrees. How do you feel about that?
I can't do much from being dead. But I'm going to give you something where you can change the world if you all agree to do what I'm about to tell you. And this is totally non-Steve Jobs. It is Steve Jobs because I see the future. Of the three main visionaries, we'll say Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg has an empathy chip in his head. When his wife Priscilla had 3 miscarriages, instead of saying to her, "That's okay, we're young, we can adopt," he wrote a letter about the pain of loss to Facebook. When Sheryl Sandberg's husband died, he could have said, "Hey, you're worth $1 billion, you'll get over it, you'll date the head of Activision Blizzard," which is what she's doing. Won't be a big deal. No, he was empathic. And I think he has an opportunity to reach out to the world and say, we not only can connect with each other, we have to show caring in a different way. And I think if all of you, I can't reach him, because you think you have bad connection with email, you should see where I'm at. I do get text messages. But I think if you made a concerted effort to reach out to Zuckerberg, if all of you did that, because he's still new at this, but he's more evolved than I ever got. But he felt pain about those miscarriages. He felt empathy about Sheryl Sandberg's husband dying. He could do that. He could speak to that. Now, this is the last thing you'll ever hear from me, because we're out of time. Tenderness is dead in the world. It's dead. It takes too much time. You have to be patient. You have to let go of your agenda. Tenderness and patience are almost dead. Since I have a couple days from heaven here, I told you I'm up there. They gave me a pass. I was watching some of all this political stuff. To be honest, I hate to tell you, trust is dead. Doesn't matter whether you trust anyone, because you can't trust anyone. What it comes down to, what I would say to Washington, what I would say to the world is, can we have confidence that people can actually get stuff done that's important to us? We're never going to trust anyone. We don't even trust ourselves. So I think there's ways to do that. But if all of you reached out to Zuckerberg in that way, you might be able to make a difference. So I want to thank you. Enjoy Wanderlust. Hope to see you around here before my day passes over. And thank you.